Hello everybody, welcome to Nature's People. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic, is why are African Americans so rude and loud? This particular topic and conversation focuses more on the attitude of certain African American people. Does not necessarily mean that all African Americans are rude and arrogant and aggressive. However, it's a pretty noticeable thing whenever you interact with African Americans, especially if you're a foreigner from a different country. I first noticed that there's a different attitude and way of interaction among African Americans, specifically on women. You tend to find that there's a tendency whenever you're interacting in public places that the women are impatient, arrogant, loud, and aggressive. Well, I can't really relate and know what are the causes. I've done some research on that, and there's some explanations that were saying that that's predominantly due to the fact that African Americans, I've had to ask personally an African American person to on why was that attitude, or what are the causation of the attitude. And he explained me that during the times of slavery, African Americans felt really oppressed and really subjugated, and due to that fact they had to build a sort of attitude that was sort of shielding and protecting their respect, integrity and ways of being. And with that being said, I also tend to notice, like I've traveled around, as I mentioned in my previous videos. I've been to Africa, and you tend to find that some African women, not necessarily all, but some African women have the same behaviors. They are so loud and aggressive, especially in public places. But most of these African women have this attitude, mainly because most of them are single, and they don't have a partner. They're not happy in their social life. They feel isolated. They feel lonely, and that's why they don't seem to be sociable and be kind and friendly. Now, with that being said, I want to dive deeper into the culture aspect of African American society. One of the things I noticed is that in African Americans, among the racial group, you tend to find that the society tends to be a lot more masculine as compared to Caucasians and other races or Hispanics, whatever. And that sort of gives this view that the people are more in tune to the fact that people have to live in a sort of robust, strong and vivid way that keeps respect and integrity at check. I don't understand why does that have to do with being rude and aggressive. Well, as far as race and origin is concerned, most African Americans can trace a bare minimum of 70% of their gene pool or ancestry to Africa. And if you go to Africa, it's a complete different scenario. Why? Because Africans are really kind, really friendly, really happy people, really simple and humble. However, I have to mention that Africans have a tendency of being kind, respectful and friendly when they're oppressed. By oppression I mean when they are vulnerable financially and socially. However, it's not all Africans, right? But some Africans, whenever they cross past that sphere of poverty, of subjugation, of oppression, they get higher to the top. They literally transform and get into new, they become new human beings. They become very arrogant, very very direct, very offensive, and very aggressive. Not aggressive. I mean, aggression is not an African custom, but mostly arrogant and proud. But now I have to I sort of relate to the fact that African Americans may be rude and arrogant, probably because and they have some of these African traits, because USA is the most powerful and wealthiest place in the world. Because they're wealthy, they have money, they own no respect to nobody. Now, furthermore in the video, I have to say that this is not a tendency of all African Americans. It's not a black tendency, and it's not all African Americans that behave this way. So it's just a general misconception. It might also be not a superstition, but a false view from most people that may be engaged in the societies. So for most people that, for example, travel to the US, especially from Asia, they've told me that they fear a lot engaging with African Americans because of that attitude. But one of the things that is interesting is that for people that have interacted with black people before, they notice that that's just a way of dealing and talking. African Americans, in my perspective, were really nice, kind, friendly, engaged, and really cool people. So all in all, I would say African Americans were the coolest people. And now talking about what does rudeness have to do with culture, with music, with society, with with happiness. There's this time I was taking a bus, a Greyhound bus, if I'm not mistaken, and we're traveling to a city. If I'm not mistaken, it was from somewhere from New York till this city, Nashville, Tennessee. And wow, the bus driver was just impressive. He was, saying next stop, and next stop is going to be Nashville, Tennessee. And then when we reached in Nashville, Tennessee, it's like, we have reached to Nashville, Tennessee. So I mean, there's some sort of I don't know, some sort of engagement, some sort of art, some type of culture, some type of salt into the system. I mean, boredom, a society that is really boring is not that much entertaining. However, African Americans tend to make things more, engaged, more fun, more happier. I mean, they take that vibe of calmness, of simplicity. They try to make things more better and cooler. So that's the thing that I really like. I was really impressed by African Americans, and I understand more than anybody that really the cultural aspect of that can be falsely perceived as aggression and violence is not really that. It's a way of having a fun way of interacting, of engaging with other people, of having them, feel you and engage well with you. So all in all, guys, I really praise the African American culture. I like it. It's really beautiful. And for those of you who are African Americans, please tell me, why are African Americans allowed and might sometimes be perceived as aggressive, as oppressive, as rude and arrogant, which might not be actually the case. It might be a misconception or maybe a stereotype. Explain me down below in the comments. I really look forward to develop my channel and make it better over time. It hasn't been that much easy, but we always a work in progress. That's how life is. Guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. We're now heading to 100 subscribers. Many of you might think that's not enough, but there are my reasons. But anyways, share, like, and subscribe. and see you in the next one. Bye for now. Ooh.